Hello everyone and welcome back guys, and I think it's safe to say it has been a long while since I've said that for one of my F1 1980s career mode videos. It has been a while, I'm not going to lie, but I sort of want to try and get this series rounded up nicely before Christmas, as well as a couple of other series, you know, we can start afresh, ready for 2018. But here we are then for round 6 of the season, and it takes us to my home Grand Prix at, actually Brands Hatch, not Silverstone. For this season, I decided, you know, a little bit of a short season, I wanted to try and use more of the classic tracks, something that, you know, we don't see so often in Formula 1 nowadays. But if you did miss out on the last episode, or in fact the whole series, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. There will be a link in the top right hand corner of your screen. If you click the little eye, hopefully you know the drill by now. But here we are then at Brands Hatch for round 6 of the season. Unfortunately, obviously with no qualifying, it does mean that I usually end up starting a little bit further down the grid than I probably would like. But this circuit on this game is an absolute just track of speed. There's about 4 braking zones around this whole circuit, so it's sort of a bit of an interesting one. I'm going to run shorter gears as there's no real long straights, but I also don't want to run too much downforce, you know, so that we can't get jumped by absolutely everyone there. So we're making a little bit, you know, of a basic setup ready for the car for this Grand Prix. But I'm really looking forward to this. Nice to finally jump back in to some of the classic cars. I actually can't even remember how good this car sounds, so hopefully we can try and reminisce very shortly there. But we do desperately need to close down points on Michael Schumacher and Nigel Mansell. I think, unfortunately for me, they are starting on the front row. My teammate Hakkinen in P4, myself down in P7, driving as Satoru Nakajima. But here we are then, on the grid. That engine sound is as good as I remember. That is one of the most important things in this series. But here we are then on the grid, ready for the British Grand Prix. It is 5 lights and it's lights out. And away we go then, off to actually a fairly standard start there. Mario Andretti might try and have a look around my outside, down in towards turn 1 here. Is he going to be able to make the position stick? No, he doesn't. We attack the curbs absolutely massively though through turn 1 and into turn 2. Berger completely brake checks us there into the corner, being so cautious there. Somehow, after all of that, we find myself making up 3 places through that corner, overtaking him, Fittipaldi, and I'm not actually too sure who the final person was there. I think it might have been Coulthard, but actually I don't even know if he's in the F1 1980s pack, so I could be entirely wrong there. But yeah, we've survived the first couple of corners there. Berger thinks about trying to look right down the inside in towards this fast corner. Unfortunately, I don't know names around Brands Hatch either, corner names wise, so I can only apologise for that. I'm not really cultured with the eastern tracks of the United Kingdom, so it's a bit difficult for myself here. But coming through towards the final couple of corners of a lap 1, and I'm now all over the back of my teammate Mika Hakkinen there, fighting the back end as we came down in towards that second to last corner. But through the final corner, it's so quick around this whole track, you know, it's actually quite crazy relative to more modern games. You know, there's so many tight corners around here, but we send one down the inside of my teammate Hakkinen into turn 1 there, up now onto the podium positions in this Grand Prix. So actually, you know, a very decent start to this race, and now all we've got to try and do is close up to Nigel Mansell and Michael Schumacher here, the 2 championship protagonists. You know, we're still within an outside chance at the moment, 4 rounds to go, including this one. We really need to score consistently in these next few rounds to really, you know, have a chance of closing up to those guys. But moving on to lap 4 of the Grand Prix, you can see the gap sort of came down to about 1.6 seconds here. The gap to my teammate Hakkinen was still going up slowly and surely, but, you know, we weren't gaining too much time at this moment. But still, you know, we weren't giving it just yet. You know, this car's so much fun to push around a track like this as well. You know, if you get a lap right, it is so rewarding. And as we skip on to the end of a lap 5 here, you can see the gap has come down by another 3/10 there, so we are still slowly but surely closing in, like I said. And, you know, Mansell and Schumacher, you know, we're starting to apply the pressure to each other, so hopefully we could try and, you know, capitalise on that. If you did hear on the radio, though, Jeff just telling me that the car ahead is running on full power, so quite clearly Mansell, you know, he's getting a bit worried about myself behind, and he also really needs to jump Michael Schumacher ahead of him there, so could be quite interesting. We could see some very, you know, last gasp lunges between these guys over the next couple of laps, but we shall wait and see. It is now, as we skip on a few corners later, we are still closing up so much through that second to last corner there, using all the curb on the exit there, and down in towards the final corner. Just have to brake ever so slightly, down 1 gear, down into 5th gear, and out of the final corner there. Sparks flying from both Schumacher and Mansell's cars here as we have a look down towards the inside, in towards someone that just about break that bit later than Nigel Mansell there. We now move up into P2 of the Grand Prix, that we make sure we give him the room on the outside through the corner. But now, as I said, yeah, up into P2 of the Grand Prix, fastest lap of the Grand Prix there. And Jeff now telling me there's going to be rain in about 10 minutes time here, which is really, really not actually that good for my strategy or anyone else's in this race at the moment, because that could mean, you know, we'd have to go onto a fresh set of tyres and then onto a set of the intermediate tyres potentially towards the end of the Grand Prix there. So potentially some strategy that we're going to have to think about over these next few laps, but still, you know, closing up on Michael Schumacher there, absolutely sparking away just ahead of you there. We're trying to use all the track limit and then even a bit of the grass on at the outside there, definitely doing some rallycross through the third last corner of this lap, but, you know, we don't get a particularly good run out of the second to last corner, but still hoping, you know, if we get a good run at the final corner, break nice and late down in towards turn 1, we can potentially close up that bit more to Michael Schumacher there. And Jeff just telling me, yeah, we do desperately need to jump Michael Schumacher in this Grand Prix. Close up so much into turn 1 there, absolutely crazy how much we close up. We're going to dive it down the inside into turn 2 there, somehow just about get the car slowed down on the apex of the corner there. And now we move up into the lead of the Grand Prix. That was quite a tense little moment between myself and Michael Schumacher there, you know, just trying to absolutely lunge one down his inside. But sometimes, you know, the gambles do pay off, and that is exactly what has happened today in this Grand Prix. But still 11 laps to go of this race, potentially changeable conditions as well in the later stages. And now on the end of lap 8, we're actually going to dive it in for, well, probably not my one and only pit stop of the Grand Prix. Nearly take off as we come into the pit lane there, you know, that huge bump as you go in. But overall a fairly decent stop. We don't really get held up by anyone else there. 5.8 second pit stop. We do stay out ahead of the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher there, and that is absolutely crucial for myself. Back out in P5 of the Grand Prix, obviously, as a lot of the drivers haven't been able to make their first pit stop of the race so far, so hopefully we should be able to reach up them nice and quickly in this Grand Prix. But you can already see now the rain is starting to spit down here, so this could be a real make or break point in the Grand Prix. You know, if the guys ahead, you know, if they, you know, gamble it, potentially go on a set of the intermediates there, as you can see, they all dive it in to the pits on the end of lap 9, and I don't think any of them have actually made the pit stop there, but we completely attack the curbs through turn 1 there, and that, unfortunately, rather surprisingly, is us out of the British Grand Prix. Let's have a look at that. What happened there then? We just completely took off the turn 1 curb there. No idea, you know, I don't know if the front end dug in or what there, but we have just been sent to the skies on the exit of the corner. That is thumbnail material if ever I've seen it. Really, really unfortunate for myself. They just turned in that bit too early. Got a little bit unlucky the way we got caught on that curve as well. But that is certainly not what we needed in this British Grand Prix after, you know, we haven't had the best results in the last couple of rounds. But unfortunately, that's us out of the British Grand Prix. Nothing I can do there. Not going to be using the rewinds in this series. So absolutely gutted that we are unfortunately out of the Grand Prix. Nigel Mansell does come through to take home the race victory there, which I guess is a little bit of a saviour for myself there. Unfortunately, you know, it does mean that Michael Schumacher doesn't pull out another 25 points over myself. But yeah, unfortunate for me. Yeah, no idea really what happened there at the end of the day. We just clipped that curb, got sent to the skies, and then we were a passenger straight heading for the tyre wall there. But Mansell wins ahead of Schumacher and Hill, rounding out the podium there. My teammate Hakkinen just missed out with Berger, Prost, Fittipaldi, Andretti and Jones rounding out the finishes there. Myself still scoring 1 point from that DNF there. And have a look at the driver's standings with now 45 points behind Nigel Mansell, who now leads the way by just 1 point over Michael Schumacher in the driver's standings there. We are losing out on so many race, you know, good, decent race results here. And, you know, 3 rounds to go of the season. It's looking more like we're going to have to try and defend it from Berger and Hakkinen behind me, as well as potentially Damon Hill there. You know, actually quite tight between us 4 in the driver's standings. But hopefully, next time out we can get off to a bit of a better result. I think next time out we are at the Nürburgring for the German Grand Prix. So going back to the green hell there. And having a look at the constructors' standings, we are now down to 3rd place here. So not exactly the greatest result for myself there. But hopefully, you know, you guys have still enjoyed this video. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you're new around here, and if you did go on to enjoy this F1 1980s classic career mode. But I will see you guys next time then, as I said, for the German Grand Prix.